Alright, so what I'm going to be doing here right now is just a opening and install of some Motopump 0.6 inch handlebar risers for my 2015 Honda Interceptor. Now, I have already opened this up. Pretty excited about what's in it, just because I get pretty excited anytime you get more than you bought. So, comes in a flat rake, bubble mailer inside that. And here is when it gets sort of cool. So these right here, I guess Motopumps, their main thing is that they sell pumps for tires. I guess I'm not sure if they do this in everything or I just wound up looking out, but in this case they sent the handlebar risers in this, which is pretty cool. Planning a trip to Bike Week next year, may wind up using this to pack some small essentials, something along those lines. Now, inside here, we've actually got 2 risers, as well as our stainless steel mounting hardware. These right here, like I said, already open, already pulled them out. These are color matched to the brass finish. Sort of hard to see right here. Bump up the brightness a smidge. There we go. You can see sort of bronzish. Now next part, I'm just going to go ahead show you how to take the clip-on style handlebars off and mount these right up underneath. Alright, so starting out here, we've got the steering yoke, everything like that. We've got the clip-on style handlebars. Just before I get to work, really pretty much the only reason I want to throw these on here, the bike's pretty comfortable as it is. But like I said, I'm planning a trip to Bike Week. I'm going to be riding 2 up down there. And riding by myself, I'm nice and comfortable. But when I've got a passenger on the bike, I don't know, it's a little bit uncomfortable steering, being hunched forward. It feels like you don't have as much control. And prior to this, I've always ridden more upright bikes, Z750S, FZ07. I had a Ninja 500 at one point with some 1.5 inch handlebar risers. Now, best thing about these risers, like I said, they are 0.6 inch. Motopumps, they sell them in 2 sizes. 2 other sizes, they're actually rise them up a little bit further. I think 1.25 inches is the highest they actually go up to. But on all of these, they mount up as is, and you don't actually have to modify any of the linkages, anything up in the top end, regardless of what size you get. Now, as you can see, here and here, we've got 2 plastic caps that are covering the mild steel mounting hardware that comes stock from the bike. The first thing we want to do is take a screwdriver. If you have a knife, that's fine too. Just want to go underneath. I'm going to pop these caps off. Okay. Now, with both of those removed, next thing, you're just going to use a regular Allen key, or if you have an Allen bit, something along those lines. We're just going to go ahead and break it loose. If you've got a Allen key like this, something a little bit longer, let you grab down here, get a little bit more torque on it, break it loose a tad bit easier. Now I've not pulled these off yet, so they're probably going to be on pretty tight. They probably got Loctite from factory, so we're just going to start right there. Alright, there's one busted. And there we go, 2. Now these right here, they're a pretty simple install. If you're thinking, hey, the only thing you have to do, remove the bolts, slide the risers up underneath, and install new bolts. If you're thinking that's all you got to do, you are right. So you've got both of those completely loosened all the way. Just go ahead, pull these out. I do recommend keeping on these if for whatever reason. I know a lot of people, they like throwing stock parts back on the bike before they sell it. Or alternatively, maybe you just want to switch back and forth between the risers and no risers. But hold on to these as well as your plastic caps. Okay, so next thing we are going to do, we're just going to pretty much grab a hold of the handlebar, wheel it up over the front right fork, and that'll be the first step here. Now when you're doing this, you do want to be a little bit careful, or at least I suggest it. You don't have to be, but just try to avoid being too rough so you don't wind up scratching your paint up or anything. Next thing, you just take the riser itself and you're just going to slide it underneath. Now it is cut to a specific design. One side's square, the other side comes up at an angle. You just want to make sure to line it up. The square side will go near you. You'll just push that down on there, let it rest. Pretty close on the color match. Only real way to, I think, get any closer would be to texture it like it is down on the triple tree itself. But I mean, at a passing glance, unless you're actually inspecting it, you're not really going to see there's any sort of difference. So next, you're just going to take the clip on, bring it back up over top, and slide it back down on there. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Now the kit itself, it does come with a set of mounting hardware. Best thing about these guys over at Motopumps, they actually, instead of sending you mild steel, which is what comes from factory, they actually send you four stainless mounting bolts. So you can see here, not quite in focus. I'll bring it in. No. Can't quite get it to focus for some reason. There we go. Nice stainless hardware. And from here, it is just as easy as it seems. The only thing you really need to do, take these mounting bolts and feed them through the clip-on. Make sure they feed in through the riser. Then you might have to play with it a little bit just to get it to drop down into the triple tree itself. Now at this point, I do suggest going ahead and lining up both before you go and start tightening either of them down. You definitely want to try to avoid anything like a cross-threading or stripping out anything that's already in there. So we're going to go ahead, drop that one down, make sure they sort of line up. And before you take any tools to it, my personal suggestion is always, and I'm sure somebody's going to make it sound dirty, but just always go ahead and finger tighten it first. We've got those started. Only thing now is to take our Allen key and tighten it down. Okay. Now, as a safety precaution, I always suggest referring to the manufacturer's service manual. That way when you're installing these, you get them torqued down to the appropriate specs. Right now I don't have that handy, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tighten it down to what I personally feel is right, and then I'll go over with a torque wrench later. If you have a torque wrench available, I would suggest go ahead and doing that now so you can save yourself a step later on. Okay, now from here you do have really two options. You can take the plastic caps that came on the factory bolts and plug those in. They're not really necessary on these because, like I said, it does come with stainless hardware. Personally, I like the more raw machined look. In my mind, I've always likened motorcycles to aircraft, and when I think aircraft, I think things along the World War II line where you've got exposed rivets and bolts everywhere. So for my own liking, I'm actually going to leave these caps off. Now, something else worth mentioning, if you live in the US, you do have two models of this Interceptor. You have the Interceptor Standard. That right there is a 2014 and 2015. Then you also have the Interceptor Deluxe, which is, again, 2014 and 2015. Now, the differences between these is on the 2014-2015 Deluxe Interceptor 800. It does come with self-canceling turn signals, but the most important thing is what's up here actually on your steering area. You've got wiring for your factory heated grips. You've also got wiring over here on your left side for your traction control, enable and disable your toggle key. But what I can go ahead and say is that even on the Deluxe, putting these risers, they don't interfere at all. You've got plenty of slack. You can't really see. I can rotate the camera. Right here's the wire for the heated grips. You have plenty of slack. So even if you went up to a Motopump's highest height, you're still going to have plenty of slack regardless, and it won't interfere if you have a Deluxe or a Standard. Now, going on to the other side, it is the same deal as far as removal and install, but I'm going to go ahead, we're going to move the camera over to the other side of the bike, and we're going to go ahead and record that just so you guys have that on video as well. Alright, now we are on the other side now. Apologize about my charging phone mount being in the way. Not really going to bother moving that, and my Garmin Verb, it's not really in the way. As you can see, same process. You still got two black covers you want to pop off, two little caps. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Now, before I move on and go ahead and start swapping this out, if you have one of these, I touched earlier, if you have one of these, you really don't need to change these things out. It's a pretty comfortable bike as it is. Just my own personal preference. Like I said, I'm going to be doing 2-up. I'm more comfortable having an upright position when you're doing 2-up. But another big thing to me is, just as you've got all kinds of different motorcycles, you've got all kinds of different shaped riders. In my case, with the length of my legs, length of my arms, length of my torso, everything like that, with the foot pegs, I feel like those are in the right position for me, but it feels like the way the bike was designed, the foot pegs are, like I said, in the right position, but to compound that, the handlebars, they are too far forward when compared to the foot pegs. Now, I did run into a similar kind of issue on my FC07 after I'd made some modifications. I'd put some clubbing bars, which puts you a far bit more forward, but left the stock foot controls and foot pegs. Wound up changing out the foot pegs just because it sort of folded you up a little bit. But on this right here, I can ride it all day as it is. I just want a little bit more upright of a seating posture. So, we'll go ahead and we'll remove these, remove this mounting hardware. Now, when you're working on this side, you do want to be a little bit careful, especially if you've got it on your side stand. When you're turning left to loosen these up, the front wheel will want to try to turn left with you. You shouldn't have any sort of issue, because when you do that, the bike sort of wants to slide back, which won't take it off the kickstand. But at the same time, it can throw you off a little bit when the wheel's turning while you're trying to do this. Now, I am going to also say, if you're using an Allen key this long, where you can get a little bit of a better bite, a little bit more torque, you do want to be careful, because if you're going this way and it just suddenly breaks loose, this right here will come in contact with the front of the fuel tank and it completely scratch up the paint. That's what I'm trying to do. You can put a cloth here or something like that, or you can have your hand in the way so when it breaks loose it hits your hand. But in this case, I'm going to, if it fits, go a little bit weird with it. I'm going to mount it up down there. I'm going to use a screwdriver as a handle, to get leverage. Is actually a perfect fit. And we're just going to turn like that. Now, that did break loose. As you can see, the steering yoke was starting to want to rotate around with it, but it broke loose, so we should be good. I'm going to go ahead and remove these. Alright, the mounting hardware is removed, and I've got the other riser over here. So, same deal as before. You want the squared side to go near you. So, gonna go ahead, lift this up, and again, be careful. This is painted here. You don't have much of this on the standard model because you don't have the front suspension controls there. So you still just want to be careful. Don't want to marry anything up. Now that's up out of the way. Something I didn't touch on the previous one, You do have a hydraulic brake, you do have a hydraulic clutch. You want to try to avoid flipping upside down so you don't get any of the air that's in the top of this reservoir down in the lines. You shouldn't run an issue if it's upside down as long as you don't squeeze one of the levers, but at the same time there's no point running the chance if you can't avoid it. Alright, so we've got that down there. Got our two additional bolts, the stainless hardware that came with it. We're going to go ahead and feed these down, and again, you just want to finger it. Get it started with your fingers. Don't jump it with any tools until you feel that it's actually threaded in right, not cross-threaded, so you don't run any sort of issues. Both of those actually started amazingly easy. So we can go ahead and we're going to tighten these down just like this. Alright, so we've got them just started, snug down, and we're going to go ahead and go through and we're going to just go ahead and torque them down. And just again, if you skip to this part of the video, always follow the manufacturer's shop manual. Torque it down to the appropriate torque that they call for. In my case, I don't currently have my torque wrench available, so I'm just going to go ahead and torque this down as I feel right, and when I get my torque wrench back, I'll go through and torque it down to spec. Now, as far as that goes, that's a complete install of these Motopump handlebar risers. Now, if you are riding one of these 2014, 2015 Interceptors in the US, or all the way up to currently 2018, 2019 that's available in the rest of the world, definitely give these guys at Motopump a check out. I placed the order late Monday. No, actually, I placed the order late Tuesday. They shipped out Wednesday, and I got them here Thursday. And like I said, I got those cool little extra things. I even threw a sticker in with the bag. And if you take a look at my bike, I don't do it in any gaudy fashion, but I love stickers. So if that's something for you, I mean, go ahead, place the order. You're probably going to get the same treatment. But again, just check them out. If you need an air pump, if you want these risers, they're cool guys. If you guys have any questions, put them down in the comments. I'll get to them as quick as possible. I work a regular day job, so might not be as quick as some would like, but hope you all enjoyed this video. Hope it helped you out. Be safe out there riding, and have a great day.